Welcome to HFY Galaxy Tales. Like the video and subscribe the channel for more HFY stories. The thing about humans, and believe me when I tell you this because I learned it the hard way, is that they smile widest when everything has gone completely wrong. My name is Vector, and I commanded the finest hunting pack in the Kethris Empire. Notice I said commanded, past tense, because what happened on that miserable rock we called Outpost 7 changed everything. But I am getting ahead of myself here. There were 43 of us that day. 43 elite Kethris warriors, each standing over 8 feet tall, armed with plasma rifles that could melt through 6 inches of reinforced steel, and we had cornered one human. One single, solitary human named Marcus Flynn. The outpost was a maze of corridors and supply rooms, all flickering lights and shadows, perfect for an ambush. We had tracked Flynn there after he stole classified information about our supply routes. Intelligence said he was alone, cut off from his unit, injured, and running low on ammunition. Simple extraction mission, they said. Capture or eliminate, they said. Ha. Ha ha. Ha. Commander Vector, my second-in-command Ryloth hissed through his comm device. We have him trapped in the central storage bay. All exits sealed. He has nowhere to go. I should have recognized the trap right then. I should have heard the way Ryloth's voice carried just a hint of uncertainty. But I was arrogant, you see. We all were. Close in, I ordered. Standard formation. Remember, High Command wants him alive if possible, but dead works just fine too. We moved through the corridors like liquid death, trained and coordinated, our scales gleaming under the emergency lighting. The storage bay doors loomed ahead, massive and sealed tight. Through our thermal sensors, we detected one heat signature inside. Just one. Flynn was trapped like a rodent in a cage. Ryloth overrode the door controls, and the heavy blast doors groaned open. My pack flooded into the room, weapons raised, ready to end this quickly. The storage bay was enormous, filled with crates stacked 3 stories high, creating a labyrinth of supplies and equipment. And there, standing in the center of the room on top of a cargo container, was Marcus Flynn. He was not impressive to look at. Humans never are. Maybe 5'10", wearing damaged combat armor that had seen better days, blood seeping through a wound on his left shoulder. His weapon, some primitive kinetic rifle, hung loosely at his side. He should have been terrified. He should have been begging. Instead, he was grinning. 43, Flynn called out, his voice echoing through the bay. Wow. I must really be important if they sent 43 of you big scary lizard types to get little old me. Surrender now, human, I demanded, my translator converting my words into his primitive language. You are surrounded. There is no escape. You have fought well, but this ends here. Flynn tilted his head, and that grin got wider. You know what is funny about being surrounded? He paused, and I swear his eyes actually twinkled with amusement. It means everyone is exactly where I want them. Before any of us could process that statement, he dropped something from his hand. A small metallic sphere that clinked against the container beneath his feet, rolled twice, and activated. The EMP pulse hit us like a hammer made of lightning. Every piece of electronic equipment we carried died instantly. Weapons, comm devices, tactical displays, armor systems, all of it just shut down. The lights in the bay went dark. Emergency power kicked in 3 seconds later, bathing everything in red, but the damage was done. 43 elite warriors stood there holding very expensive clubs. Oops, Flynn said cheerfully. Did I do that? Ryloth snarled, a sound like rocks grinding together. It does not matter. We do not need technology to tear you apart, human. You are still 1 against 43. Am I though? Flynn asked, and something in his tone made my scales prickle with warning. Are you absolutely sure about that math? That was when the crates exploded. Not with fire or shrapnel, no. These were dummy crates, hollow props. They burst open to reveal gun emplacements, automated turrets that Flynn must have rigged up before we arrived. But here is the clever part, the part that still makes me want to punch something when I think about it. These were not energy weapons. They were kinetic, mechanical, spring-loaded and gravity-fed. The EMP pulse that killed our gear did not touch them at all. Projectiles filled the air like angry insects. My warriors dove for cover, scales sparking as bullets ricocheted everywhere. 3 of my soldiers went down in the first 5 seconds, not dead but definitely out of the fight. "See, here is the thing about you, Kethris," Flynn shouted over the chaos, leaping down from his perch with surprising grace for an injured man. "You rely too much on your fancy technology. Makes you predictable. Makes you vulnerable." I fired my rifle. Nothing. Dead weight. I threw it aside and pulled my blade instead, a monomolecular edge that needed no power source. Around me, my pack was doing the same, adapting, as we were trained to do. "Surround him," I roared. "Cut him off from the exits. He cannot maintain fire in all directions." They rushed forward, and Flynn ran. Not away from us, mind you. Toward us. Directly into the teeth of my formation, sliding under the legs of Korpax, one of my biggest warriors, firing his rifle upward as he passed. Korpax howled and stumbled. Flynn rolled to his feet, ducked a swipe from Mechter's claws, and vaulted over a supply crate. The turret stopped firing. Out of ammunition already. Good. Now it was just blade work. We chased him through the maze of containers, and I started noticing things. The way certain crates were positioned. The scorch marks on the floor in specific patterns. The odd placement of cargo netting hanging from the ceiling. Flynn had not just prepared this battlefield. He had choreographed it. Yeltris lunged at him from the left. Flynn grabbed a hanging net and swung up and over, and Yeltris crashed into Dromer coming from the right. They went down in a tangle of limbs and curses. Flynn landed, kicked a release lever I had not noticed, and a pallet of crates dropped from above, crushing 2 more of my soldiers. "You know," Flynn panted, backing away as we regrouped, "Sun Tzu said that the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. But personally, I think the supreme art is making them fight themselves." He kicked another container, and it rolled forward. Instinctively, Prelak stabbed it with his blade, and the container ruptured, spraying a thick, oily substance across 6 of my warriors. They slipped and slid, crashing into each other like hatchlings on ice. I was down to 32 combat-effective soldiers. 1 human, wounded and supposedly cornered, had taken out 11 of my best. "Enough games," I hissed, advancing slowly. "You are clever, human. I admit it. But clever only goes so far. You are still alone. You are still bleeding. You are still going to die here." Flynn checked his rifle. Empty. He tossed it aside and drew a combat knife, something barely longer than his forearm. Pathetic compared to our blades. "Alone?" He laughed, and it was the laugh of someone who knew something you did not. "Commander, I have not been alone since you walked through that door." The walls exploded inward. Not the storage bay walls. The walls between the storage bay and the adjacent sections. Breaching charges, carefully placed, timed perfectly. Through the smoke and debris came humans. Dozens of them. Flynn's unit, the one intelligence swore was light years away. They had been here the whole time, hidden in the surrounding compartments, waiting for Flynn to corral us into the perfect position. We were not the hunters anymore. We were the hunted. Plasma fire, real plasma fire from working weapons, filled the air. The humans had shielded their equipment somehow, protected it from the EMP. They poured in from 4 directions at once, and suddenly we were the ones surrounded. Tactical retreat, I screamed into my dead comm device, forgetting it would not work. But my soldiers understood. We fell back toward the exit, fighting every step. Flynn just stood there in the middle of the chaos, knife still in hand, blood still dripping from his shoulder, and that insufferable grin still on his face. One of my warriors, Kelrath, tried to take him down out of spite on the way past. Flynn sidestepped, tripped him, and sent him sprawling into 3 others. We made it to the corridor, 18 of us left standing out of 43. 18 warriors fleeing from humans like frightened prey animals. The shame burned worse than any wound. "Tell your commander something for me," Flynn called after us, his voice carrying through the smoke and noise. "Tell them Marcus Flynn says hello. Tell them Earth remembers. And tell them that every time they send someone after me, I am going to send them back in pieces." We ran. Elite Kethris warriors, pride of the Empire, ran from one injured human and his ragtag unit. Later, much later, when I was being debriefed by High Command, they asked me what went wrong. How did 43 trained soldiers fail to capture one human? I told them the truth, even though I knew they would not believe it. We did not fail to capture him, sirs. He captured us. From the moment we entered that bay, we were dancing to his tune. Every move we made, he had predicted. Every advantage we thought we had, he had countered. He did not just set a trap. He made us part of his weapon, turning our own numbers against us. The High Commander, an ancient warrior named Vorthak who had fought in 100 campaigns, studied me with cold eyes. "And what is your assessment of this human, Vector? What kind of enemy is Marcus Flynn?" I thought about that grin. I thought about the way he smiled while bleeding, while surrounded, while supposedly defeated. I thought about the terrible efficiency of his trap and the precision of his execution. "The worst kind, sir," I answered. "The kind who fights like he has already won. The kind who sees being surrounded as an advantage, not a disadvantage. The kind who makes you think you are the predator right up until the moment you realize you have been prey all along." Vorthak dismissed me then, but not before I saw something in his expression I had never seen before in any Kethris warrior. Fear. They sent me to a frontier post after that, far from the war with humanity. But I hear things. I hear that other units have encountered Flynn. I hear that his reputation grows. I hear that human commanders are studying his tactics, teaching them to others. And I hear that he is still out there, still fighting, still turning predators into prey with nothing but preparation, creativity, and that damned unsettling smile. The thing about humans, I have learned, is not that they refuse to surrender when surrounded. It is that they somehow convince themselves that being surrounded is exactly where they wanted to be all along. And sometimes, terrifyingly, they are right. 6 months passed before I heard Flynn's name again, and when I did, it came with a priority alert that made my blood run cold. I was stationed on Meridian Outpost, a nothing assignment watching empty space lanes, when Admiral Threxus himself contacted me. An admiral. Calling a disgraced commander on a backwater station. Nothing good ever came from that kind of attention. "Vector," his voice crackled through the communication terminal. "You encountered the human Flynn on Outpost 7. I need everything you know about his methods." My heart sank. "Both of them?" "Sir, with respect, my report was comprehensive. What more could I possibly add?" "He has taken Station Crebius." I stared at the screen, certain I had misheard. "Station Crebius, sir. The fortress station? The one with 15,000 troops and enough firepower to level a moon? That Station Crebius?" "The very same. Except now it belongs to Earth, and Flynn personally sent us a message. He said, and I quote, to ask Commander Vector how the whole being surrounded thing worked out last time." Threxus paused, his crest flattening with what might have been embarrassment. "He remembers you, Vector. Wants you to know he is thinking of you." Fantastic. I had made such an impression that a human tactical genius was now taunting me personally across star systems. My ancestors would be so proud. How many troops did Earth commit to taking Crebius? I asked, already dreading the answer. According to survivors, approximately 200 humans. Led by Flynn. They held the station for 18 hours against our reinforcement fleet before evacuating with complete intelligence archives and 3 battleship cores. Kethris leaned forward. 200 soldiers, Vector. They were outnumbered 75 to 1, and they won. I closed my eyes and saw that grin again. That terrible, knowing grin. Sir, permission to speak freely. Granted. Stop chasing him. You will not catch Marcus Flynn because he does not run from fights. He orchestrates them. Every encounter, every battle, is a performance where he has already written the ending. The more troops you send, the more resources you commit, the more ammunition you are feeding into his plans. Kethris was quiet for a long moment. That is not an option, Commander. High Command wants him captured or eliminated. They are assembling a task force. 500 warriors. The best we have. And you are going to lead them. My mandibles clicked shut with surprise. Sir, I failed the last time. Why would you trust me with this? Because you survived him. Because you understand him. Because when I asked who knew Flynn's methods best, your name came up repeatedly. The Admiral's eyes hardened. And because you owe the Empire a victory after your embarrassment at Outpost 7. This is your chance for redemption, Vector. Do not waste it. The transmission ended before I could protest. 3 weeks later, I stood on the bridge of the assault carrier Vengeance, watching 500 of the Empire's finest warriors prepare for deployment. They had trained for this. Studied every recording of Flynn's encounters. Learned from every mistake previous commanders had made. We had superior numbers, superior firepower, superior technology. Intelligence indicated Flynn was holed up in an abandoned mining complex on Tarsus 4 with maybe 30 soldiers. We had him outmatched 16 to 1. I could not shake the feeling that we were walking into another performance. Commander, my tactical officer Praxis reported, scans confirm human presence in the main mining facility. Heat signatures consistent with 30 to 40 individuals. No significant defensive emplacements detected. No defensive emplacements you can detect, I corrected. Flynn does not use conventional defenses. He uses psychology, terrain, and our own assumptions against us. Triple check everything. I want sensor sweeps on every corridor, every room, every ventilation shaft. Praxis looked at me like I was being paranoid. He had not met Flynn. We deployed in 4 strike teams, each 125 strong, approaching the mining complex from cardinal directions. Standard overwhelming force doctrine. Textbook execution. Which meant Flynn had definitely anticipated it. The complex was a nightmare of tunnels carved into an asteroid, ancient excavation sites that went down kilometers into dead rock. Our teams entered simultaneously, advancing through passages barely wide enough for 3 Kethris side by side. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. Team leaders, report, I ordered, watching tactical displays from the command post we had established outside. Team 1, proceeding to Sector A7. No contact. Team 2, reaching Sector C4. Nothing here, Commander. Team 3, advancing on Central Hub. Clear so far. Team 4, entering lower passages. Still no sign of enemy forces. They were converging on the central chamber where our scans showed the highest concentration of heat signatures. 4 teams, 4 approaches, perfect coordination. We would crush them in a single overwhelming assault. I kept waiting for the trap to spring. The teams reached the central chamber within seconds of each other, breaching from 4 different entrances, weapons raised, ready for anything. The chamber was empty except for 40 space heaters arranged in a circle. Space heaters. Generating heat signatures. Making us think we had found Flynn's forces. It is a decoy, I said, my voice flat with the realization. Everyone, fall back now. Get out of those tunnels. This is a trap. Too late, of course. Always too late with Flynn. The explosions started in sequence, precisely calculated charges that collapsed tunnel sections behind each team, cutting off their retreat routes. Not enough to kill anyone, just enough to seal them in. 500 warriors suddenly trapped in 4 separate sections of a mining complex with no easy way out. Then the lights went dark. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing everything in that familiar red glow I had learned to associate with Flynn's operations. Through the tactical channel, I heard my teams reporting in, voices tight with controlled panic. Team 1 trapped in Sector A, tunnel collapse behind us. Team 2 cut off in C corridor. We need demolition support to clear debris. Team 3, we have multiple collapse points. Estimating 2 hours minimum to dig out. Team 4 reporting heavy resistance, wait, contact, we have human forces engaging from, they are everywhere, how are they everywhere? I pulled up the tactical map, and my blood turned to ice water. The heat signatures were moving now, dozens of them, but not in the central chamber. They were in the walls, in service tunnels too small for Kethris but perfect for humans. Flynn's forces were using maintenance passages we had not even known existed, hitting my teams from angles our sensors could not track. And they were hurting my troops exactly where Flynn wanted them. All teams, defensive positions. Watch your flanks. They are using the infrastructure against us. I turned to Praxis. Get breach teams down there. Cut new passages. Get our soldiers out. Sir, that will take hours, maybe days depending on the rock composition. Then start now. Through the chaos of radio chatter, one voice cut through clear and calm and utterly infuriating. Hello, Vector. Miss me? Flynn. He had hacked our communications. You cannot win this, human, I said, keeping my voice level. Even trapped, my soldiers outnumber yours more than 10 to 1. You have delayed us, nothing more. Have I though? See, here is the thing about fighting in a place like this. You brought 500 troops. Big, strong, scary troops who need a lot of oxygen. This facility's life support was designed for a mining crew of 50. Do the math, Vector. How long before your soldiers start suffocating? He was right. I checked the atmospheric readings and felt my stomachs drop. Oxygen levels were already falling in the sealed sections. You are going to kill them? I demanded. Me? No. You are going to kill them. You marched them into a confined space with limited life support because you were so focused on overwhelming force that you forgot basic environmental factors. Classic mistake. I am just the guy who locked the door. What do you want, Flynn? Honestly? I want you to learn something. You keep throwing bodies at problems like quantity is quality. You keep thinking bigger numbers mean automatic victory. But this? This is not about how many soldiers you have. It is about understanding the battlefield. About using what you have intelligently instead of wastefully. Through my displays, I watched human forces hitting my teams in rapid strikes. They would appear from a service tunnel, fire a dozen shots, disappear before my warriors could respond. Death by 1,000 cuts. My troops could not maneuver properly in the confined spaces. Their size, usually an advantage, became a liability. Team 1 reporting casualties. 16 wounded, 3 dead. We cannot hold this position. Team 3, oxygen at 70% and dropping. Request immediate evacuation. Team 2, they have us pinned in a dead-end corridor. We are sitting targets here. I made the decision commanders hate making. All teams, surrender. Lay down weapons. Preserve your lives. Silence on the channel. Long, shocked silence. Kethris warriors did not surrender. Ever. It was not in our culture, our training, our entire military tradition. Sir, with respect, team leader Corvith responded slowly, we are Kethris. We do not yield to prey species. Corvith, your oxygen is at 65%. You have maybe 90 minutes before you start losing warriors to hypoxia. You are fighting an enemy who knows this facility better than you know your own ship. You are outnumbered in the only way that matters here, which is tactical knowledge. Swallow your pride and survive. That is an order. One by one, reluctantly, my teams acknowledged. Flynn's voice returned. Smart call, Commander. Tell your people to assemble in the central chamber. We will escort them out safely. You have my word, and despite everything, my word is good. Why? I asked. Why take prisoners? Why not just let the oxygen run out? Because I am not a monster, Vector. I am a soldier. There is a difference. Your troops were following orders. They do not deserve to die for their commander's tactical failures. He paused. No offense. Some taken. Over the next 3 hours, I watched Flynn's small force efficiently round up 500 Kethris warriors and march them out of the complex. Not a single human was killed. Total Kethris casualties, 11 dead, 43 wounded, 500 captured, and one commander's career thoroughly destroyed. When my soldiers emerged, weaponless and defeated, Flynn was waiting at the entrance. Still wearing that damaged armor, though someone had finally bandaged his shoulder properly. Still grinning. He walked up to me, and I noticed he was not alone. With him stood a human female with sharp eyes and tactical gear, a massive human male carrying enough weaponry for 3 people, and a smaller human male who was clearly their technical specialist. Commander Vector, I would like you to meet my team. This is Captain Reyna Vasquez, my second. Sergeant Lucas Grant, heavy weapons. And Corporal Tommy Park, who handles all our electronic warfare and sensor spoofing. Flynn gestured to each in turn. They helped me plan this whole thing. Could not have done it without them. Vasquez nodded at me. Your tactical doctrine is solid, Commander. But predictable. You rely too heavily on force projection and not enough on adaptability. We studied your previous engagements, Park added cheerfully. You favor direct approaches. Made it easy to guess where you would position teams. Grant just grunted. Big guys move slow in tight spaces. Basic physics. I looked at Flynn. You do realize you have just made an enemy of the entire Kethris Empire. They will not stop hunting you now. They were not going to stop anyway, Flynn replied. At least this way I am setting the terms of engagement. See, Vector, that is the real lesson here. Being surrounded, being outnumbered, being in a tactically inferior position, none of that matters if you understand one simple truth. Which is, every disadvantage is just an advantage you have not figured out how to use yet. He extended his hand in that peculiar human gesture of respect. Your troops fought bravely. Get them home safe. And Vector? Next time High Command wants to send someone after me, suggest they send someone who actually wants to catch me. You are too smart for suicide missions. I looked at his hand for a long moment, then clasped it briefly. His grip was surprisingly strong for such a small creature. There will not be a next time for me, I admitted. This failure is terminal for my career. Good, Flynn said, and I blinked in surprise. You are wasted hunting people like me. You should be teaching, leading, making your military smarter instead of just bigger. Think about it. He turned and walked away, his team following, leaving me with 500 defeated warriors and the uncomfortable realization that the human was right. 6 months after that, I resigned my commission. Started teaching at the Kethris War College. My first lecture is always about a human named Marcus Flynn, and how he taught me that being surrounded is not about geometry. It is about psychology. And sometimes, the person who looks trapped is actually the one holding all the doors. My students think I am paranoid when I make them study human tactics. They laugh when I tell them about Flynn's grin. They think I exaggerate the danger. Then I show them the recordings. I watch their scales pale. I watch them understand. Because the thing about humans, the thing I learned the hard way and now teach to every warrior who will listen, is this. They do not fight to win. They fight to make you lose. And there is a terrifying difference between those two things. Marcus Flynn is still out there. Still fighting. Still turning every tactical disadvantage into a weapon. And somewhere, I am certain, he is still grinning.